It is NFL Week 9, and this is the Game Plan DFS and Betting Angles breakdowns. Let's do this. All right, loving that new intro. John Statsational Alessia, were you grooving in the background to the music?
Listen, the best part of that intro is I don't have to sing "Are You Correlating" all day like that.
Do you want me to put the song on?
No, man, because
do you need me to put it on?
I'm in the car and I'm like, "Are you even correlating?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I can't get it out of my head."
What would Bobby Wow do? You're in the car singing that shit.
I like that part.
I love it. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Game Plan NFL Week 9 DFS and Betting Angles breakdown. My name is Kevin Allen, aka the Geek from DFS Army. And I've got John Statsational Alessia, sports betting GOAT, top 10 ranked DFS player, MME specialist, known far and wide to the strip clubs of Tampa as the man with the dollar bills in his pocket. What's up, John?
Oh man, not much, dude. Just getting ready for this exciting week, man. Every one of these weeks, look, we go over this before we get on here. These weeks look worse and worse with these
lopsided games. Couple close games, a lot of weird quarterback injuries, a little COVID running through the NFL. Got the vid running wild. Aaron Rodgers not vaccinated, immunized. It's two different things. We learned that this week. So we're going to figure this stuff out. I mean, AJ Grizzles, gone this week. Kyler Murray, don't know. Got a lot of interesting situations. Dan Arnold. What the hell is this? Sam Darnold, gonzo. We got PJ Dynamite Walker. So we got a lot of interesting quarterback situations to go through. And before we get into the breakdowns, of course, we are brought to you today. We got a bunch of sponsors on the show, but our lead sponsor is Owner's Box Weekly Fantasy Sports. And the Weekly Fantasy Sports component of Owner's Box really kicks in for NBA. I really love their program, so we can talk about that for a second, John. But here's the cool thing. When you use promo code NBA10, you can literally get a free entry into their 5K contest of the week. All right. It's a free, you don't have to put a credit card. Nothing. You just go you have to use the link in the description below, and you go to Owner's Box, use promo code NBA10. Did I say it right before? NBA10. You get a $10 ticket to enter this contest on screen. They're not going to fill it. It's a 5K contest. They're not going to fill it. And here's how it works. Basically, you choose two teams of 6 players, guards, forwards, center, right? And what's cool about it is you get to score 6 point guard scores over the course of a week. So if you have 2 point guards in there, each game has a dollar amount connected to it. So let's say you have a shitty performance from one of your point guards, right? You got a bad game. There's a lot of strategy to this because you can play another day's worth of point guard. It's essentially a best ball format. It's really cool. And if you figure out the strategy, you will be able to dominate. Most of the people who are playing are not really thinking about the strategy. The strategy is very obvious to me. You play more volatile people, pay less for them, get the 7th and 8th day, allow the best ball to kick in. It's really, really cool. And you get a free entry. What the hell? You like free shit? I love free shit, John. Let me tell you how much I love free shit. All right, when FanDuel or DraftKings, these guys, I'll get like a text, right? And it'll be like, all right, we're giving a free bet for UFC this weekend. Come in, you can bet $500, whatever the promo is for any of these sports books. When I get that notification, I'm like, dude, I'm getting in my car, I'm driving to I have a sports book in New York. Shh. Okay. He's a guy, an Armenian guy. He's my sports book. All right. One time I was late on a payment. Don't ask. I got a phone call to the house from his boss And I was like, come on, but I was like, I was like, I got the money. I got it. I got the money. I'll get you the money. I got you the money. Pawn shop, you know what I'm saying? Getting rid of my wife's ring. But I want it back. It's all good.
I'm sure she was thrilled about that.
I got it back. But here's the deal. When these sites give me some free shit, I drive to Jersey. I'm like, yeah, I'll take the fucking free bet. World Series, bet either side, get $100, $500 per run score. Yeah, I'm driving. 40 minutes, get some, when you're in Jersey, you got to stop for Italian food.
You're in New York, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's just as good. But Jersey's special. Anyway, I love free shit. So get the free shit over at Owner's Box. Use the link in the description below and promo code NBA10. It's not hard. All right, $10 entry. It's free. You don't have to put a credit card. Just go there and sign up now. No credit card. All right, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
It's time to break down these games. And let me tell you something. We had a hard time, John, figuring out the core four for this one. All right. Borderline, there isn't a core four, but we came up with a couple games that we want to focus a little bit harder on. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of angles and a lot of different games we're going to be paying attention to. We're going to go through all these. But let's start with the first core four game. And I'm talking Chargers and Eagles. And I think this is the best game on the slate from a I want to game stack it perspective. 50-point total, 1.5 point spread, Chargers on the road. I already have a bet on this game, John, but usually I don't like to tell you what it is because you're usually like, oh, you're on the donkey side, and you tell me the other side. But I've got a bet on this.
I could usually figure out who you're betting.
Yeah, you usually know. So I have a bet on this game. I've already placed it.
Right. So you
Chargers,
bet the
Eagles.
So you bet
Chargers
the
on the road.
Chargers. Yeah, you bet the Chargers.
Oh, there. How'd you know?
Because you don't like the Eagles. You think they're a terrible team. You feel like the Chargers lost last week. Tough loss. They're a pretty good team. Should be a good bounce back situation. And,
And remember, the Eagles are riding high thinking they got the elbow to fist going on. They're swinging the right now. They're like, oh, we dominated the Lions. They're walking around like this. A fucking elephant trunk in front of them, just like, whoosh, whoosh. Let me swing it over my shoulder. It's a lot to carry. It's a lot to carry.
They look like Dustin Johnson coming down the 18th fairway.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot to carry. Let me swing this thing over the shoulder. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. Where are we going? So what do you say about this game?
So, yeah, I'm going to have a play on this game. I have a play on a lot of games this week. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy week in the NFL. I haven't given them all out yet, but there's I got about 7 games that I'm eyeing, which is.
Where can we get your plays? You give out plays? Where can we find
Of course. Yeah, well, everyone, we are sponsored by the Sharp app, so everyone should have the Sharp app downloaded on their phone by now. And you get that, and then we got a pro version of that. We've got the website. So check out the Sharp app, check the guys out there. That's where all my plays are.
John's giving out a free bet of the day every day on the Sharp app. So just for that alone, if you bet at all, you should have that. Been smashing the bet of the day, dude. I think it's like 18-6 over the last 24. It's bananas. I've never seen a rate. Yeah, you're defying all odds and probabilities.
The last few days have let me down. So that's probably, I think I said that last week too. It's like my Wednesdays must be bad, but we got a heartbreaker last night, up 3-1 in a hockey game to lose 4-3. But we'll come back here today. The overall has been phenomenal.
Hockey goons. All right. Yeah. So talking about this game here, again, the Chargers are this up and down team. Sometimes they look like the greatest thing, and sometimes they look like shit. From a DFS angle, and the flip side is the Eagles coming off that game where they just styled on the Lions. More a discussion about the Lions' terribleness. Eagles' defense has been pretty good, but when I look at this game, the first matchup that stands out to me is Darius Hayward-Slay against Mike Williams. Mike Williams has not traditionally been the wide receiver that you really want to target against high-level cornerback play. He's not that guy. And the Eagles definitely have a defense that plays cover shells. They try to limit big plays. So I'm kind of thinking this is an Austin Eckler game, right? And I kind of think that Austin Eckler is the best running back on this entire slate this week. That's the way I'm going at this moment. I think this is the Austin Eckler show. Maybe a little Keenan Allen, maybe not the Mike Williams game. Listen, John, how much thought do you put into the how much thought do you thought cornerback wide receiver matchups? Do you weigh that at all?
Yeah, I think you have to, but it's, it can be overdone. So there's certain guys like Mike Evans is a guy when he's playing a tough matchup, he's useless. I agree with you on your analysis in this game. I probably don't like this game on the whole as much as you do, but I do like Eckler as being the top running back on the slate. I would agree with you there. I just don't love, I can't get down with the wide receivers for Philly, so which makes it a tough game for me to want to stack. Now, maybe the tight ends, maybe you got a Goddard situation here.
Yeah,
it's odd. The Chargers have been pretty good again, defensively. So what was the total on this? The total here? Yeah, this is the highest
50.
total on the board.
It's a close game. It's a 50.5. Let me make this larger.
The highest total on the main slate, at least. But
it's the highest total, and it's the closest game. So numbers wise, it stands out as a really good one. But as far as when you start to think of the players, and you're kind of like, all right, Mike Williams, tough matchup.
The Chargers have been like by far the best team against wide receivers.
The projection for Philly passing is horrific at 167 yards here on your power ranking sheet.
And then I'm looking at my numbers just from what they've given up, against that position. On average, the Chargers are averaging 11 points under against the wide receiver give up to what the team's average. That's a lot. That's a big number.
Don't play the wide receivers in this one. So, this is telling. So, as much as I thought this game stood out, Eagles running game, and that's really just Jalen Hurts doing it with his legs himself.
Yeah, it's going to be Hurts,
Yeah, it's Hurts. And then on the Chargers side, like I said, it's not a lot of passing yards. It looks to me like I said, Austin Eckler and the rushing yards is the way to target this game. So, as much as the game totals stand out as the best on the slate, there's something to be said here for it looks a little less good when you actually break down the numbers and look through the power rankings, which is really, really just such an important tool we have over at DFS Army for our subscribers. And John, it's your tool. You've created it. I love this tool where it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect, yardage, pass based on what they've done this season. There's formulas in play here. And just looking at this, doesn't look as good as you would think.
No, and it's that high total was what is kind of enticing. But it's any other week, this isn't that high a total. 50-point totals are not that high anymore in the NFL, but it's like, it's just crazy where we're going. The unders have hit in the NFL. I want to say it's 50. Actually, I have it up here somewhere. It was 67 and 54. The under has hit so far this year. Not a huge number, but we've definitely hit more unders than overs. So that's why these totals have been coming down as well. Just another quick thing, I'm giving you the Chargers number against wide receivers. Well, the Philly wide receiver numbers, they score 9 points under what their opponents give up. So, that's just a deadly combination. And then that's showing as well in the yardage numbers. But yeah, it gets backed up by the numbers when you look at it on a per point basis. But the Philly now, Hurts scores above average against defenses he plays, and like you said, that's because of the running game. Certainly the running backs for Philly haven't, they've been just slightly below average. They haven't been great. So yeah, I could see Hurts having a decent game here. The Chargers are above average across the board offensively, but Philly really doesn't give up much. Philly, I mentioned the Chargers. Philly, I believe, is second best here. Just to be quick. Yeah. So who's the second best team against wide receivers this year? Philly. So it's an odd game that this is the top total game when you've got two defenses that have really done well against the wide receiver position.
Yeah, it's definitely that kind of week where I think some of these other games where for DFS purposes, we're going to have games that we really want to hit, but some of them might not be as competitive. We're going to just be back on that. Maybe we can't play all these competitive games tip, So that's going to happen this week. There's nothing we can do about it. I have a really cool angle about that Packers game, for example, that I want to get into when we get to that one. But before we do that, next game on the Core 4, and this one I am much more excited about from a DFS angles perspective, much more excited, is the Vikings taking on the Ravens. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
Nevermore.
So the Vikings on the road, 6-point underdogs, 49.5 point game total. So another high total game, a little bit wider of a spread in this one, with the Ravens favored by 6. Now, John, does anything stand out to you from a betting angles point of view on this game?
So I'm not going to have any. I won't have any bets on this game. Let me give you a quick look. Where do you think the money's coming in?
I'm assuming that the money is on the Vikings.
I think because
it's a wide spread for Baltimore.
Yeah, it's not. I kind of assumed it would be coming in on Baltimore, and it is actually in a big way, like 4-1.
There it is. Wow. Okay, so all the money's on ball. Is that because of? I mean, the Vikings, I guess, coming off kind of a Dudley game in their last one offensively. I don't. Is that what's up?
I don't think people are giving the Vikings nearly as much credit. If you look at my rankings now, they're probably overrated. I don't think they're the 6th best team. If you just look at the rankings, I think I have them like 6 or 7. And again, that's not me like, picking my, if you go down to, just go to the rankings themselves, the ranking tab. Yeah, they're like 6th. Now, would I say they're the 6th best team in the league? No, I would I would certainly put Baltimore and Green Bay and those teams ahead of them. But this is just based on the statistics. They've played a really tough schedule. Minnesota.
Wow. I love it.
But if you look at it, they've done well in most categories here. Like, they're not bad in any of you look at their offensive rating, the defensive rating, the rushing. Like, they've done fairly well. They're slightly below on defensive passing, and that's what we're hoping to focus on here. And, they're a decent team when you take that last column, that offensive pass, defensive pass, they're a decent team to target in DFS for game stacks. So, yeah, it's odd. They're probably. I mean, I would anticipate they're going to move down the list at some point. Certainly, if they lose this game, Baltimore will move up. But I think Minnesota's a little bit underrated.
I like the bet on the Minnesota side. So there you go. I agree with you here. And taking a look at the power rankings themselves, passing yardage projection very high for the Vikings here.
Yeah, that's the highest total yardage combined, certainly on the slate.
Yeah, easily 421, super close. So again, if we're going by these projections, we should expect a little bit closer, and that's why I like the Vikings. I'm not sure that they can win or going to win the game, but I like them to keep it a little bit closer, maybe than those odds imply. So, looking at some betting angles on this one, John, I really like both sides of this game from a betting perspective. On the Baltimore side, what's not to like? I think Lamar Jackson's going to project as the top play at quarterback, or one of the top plays like he usually does. And, we've got Marquise Brown coming off a 14 target effort. I believe it was last week. Marquise Brown, the Marquis de Brown, as I like to call him, the Marquis de Brown. How's that French accent?
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So he has only 2 games this season sub 19 DraftKings points. Only 2. So this dude has been producing very consistently for a low-owned guy. And if you go back to last season, it's well into last season as well that he was putting up 19 plus. He hasn't had it's not 35 every week, but for his salary on DraftKings and FanDuel, great numbers, lots of targets. I really like the Marquis de Brown this week in DFS. I love Lamar Jackson, of course, running, passing, all that good stuff. Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. Everything about the Baltimore offense is in play for me, except for the running backs. How about you?
I agree. Yeah, well, running backs they're just a nightmare of a situation with Baltimore. So you just pass on that. I agree with you. I like the game on the whole. I think Lamar's in the best spot probably of any quarterback here this week. Let me give you a couple of the numbers. Now, Minnesota's top 5, right, in wide receiver points this year. Baltimore is they've played slightly, they played decently against they're above average against the wide receiver. They're pretty much average against quarterbacks, average against running backs. So, on a week where there's not a lot of great games, this is the one that stands out to me as potentially being the best matchup. You kind of punt the Baltimore running backs. You've got nice options. And one thing that Baltimore does poorly is play against the tight end. So can we get a cheap option? What's the prices here on Minnesota?
What's that?
The worst thing that Baltimore does is tight end. They defending the tight end.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a lot of
we have any options. Yeah, they don't have a lot of options there at tight end, but
I mean, you could play Tyler Conklin.
That's the only play, but it's not a bad cheap option.
7 targets last week. He hasn't, Conklin's playable. Sure, why not? Maybe he makes the list.
Definitely could play him here at 3K. I mean, he got 10 points last week at 3,200. I mean,
I'm not going crazy for the play, but it's all right.
No, I mean, yeah, I would definitely take a look there because Baltimore's given up a decent amount of points to the tight end position.
One guy I think will be low owned, probably too low owned, is going to be Dalvin Cook. I love the stud coming off a dud narrative. He had a dud last week, but Dalvin Cook is fully healthy, and he's getting the workload. Dalvin Cook is a guy that while he's coming off a dud, he has going into this season, he's had the lowest bust rate of any player in the NFL. And by lowest bust rate, I mean times when he misses salary-based minimal expectations. So if you're priced at 7,700 on DraftKings, salary-based minimal expectations, 2.5x. So that would be about 19 fantasy points. Dalvin Cook hit his salary-based minimal expectations something like 94% of the time. So that is an incredible ratio, especially for a guy that's not as heavily used in the passing game as people think. So for me, I don't think anybody's going to want to play Dalvin Cook this week. I think, he's coming off a tough game. The matchup is perceived to be very difficult. But when I look at the snap share from last 71% of the time on the field, getting most of the carries, no targets. That's unfortunate. And again, note that he does not get a lot of targets traditionally. I think that's a misconception about Dalvin Cook, that he's this guy that's used in the passing game. He's really not used a ton there. But, he's just so good that it doesn't really matter that much. He's kind of like a Derrick Henry light character. And, he can smash at any spot. I don't love him as my cash game play. I'm not doing that. I'm not really but I like him as a not going to be heavily owned running back in this scenario. And of course, Justin Jefferson in play, Osborne, probably the cheapest viable player on the entire slate, and Rashad Bateman. So there's a lot of goodness to be had and to be found just across this game in general. What about Kirk Cousins, John? Can you play Kirk Cousins this week in DFS? Are you going to play him?
Absolutely, yeah.
You can play him. There you go.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure about Kirk Cousins. Didn't really make my initial player list. I find him priced a little bit higher than I'm comfortable with. But, close competitive game. He could pop off at any time. If you play Kirk Cousins, though, you borderline need to force 2 of these guys with him. So my stack with Cousins would be Cousins +2, no Cook. And I need Jefferson, Thielen, Osborne, or Conklin. So it's probably going to be like my favorite might be Cousins, Jefferson, Conklin, with an alternative being kind of like a Thielen, Osborne, some combination of 2. Cousins doesn't get there with just 1.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah,
I've been thinking a lot lately about how important it is to really figure out quarterback +2 or quarterback plus. Yeah, Cook exclusively tournaments, guys. Exclusively in GPP. I'm not going to play him. I'd rather play Austin Eckler in sort of a cash, give me the 4 to 7 receptions that Eckler's going to. I need that floor in my sort of higher dollar approach. But Dalvin Cook going to be more of a GPP play that no one will be on for me. All right, let's move on. Next on the core 4, we have got the Dolphins taking on the Texans. Love this game. You're like, wait, Dolphins, Texans in the core 4? What are you, crazy? Those teams suck. Yeah, I get it. But there's a lot of fantasy goodness that could come from this game, especially on the Dolphins side. IMHO. So, John, let's first take a look at these odds. The Dolphins favored by 6.5. That just seems wrong, just in general. But of course, it's Houston. So here we go. We finally get the shitty team against the shittier team. I kind of like that. I like it. Sloppy, dirty. It's not pretty. It's like a night at the bar. 3 a.m. Go home. Sloppy, dirty, not pretty. You know what I'm talking about. It's like that.
I don't have a clue, man. But not me.
You know.
Just going to tell you now, though, on the betting side, the sharp money's on Houston.
Really?
Yeah, sharp money has been knocked this game down. They actually opened it up a little bit higher, and it's come down. It was 7.5. They knocked it down to 6.5, which is a big move when you cross that 7, right? So I just don't. There was no confidence here that you could lay more than a touchdown with Miami. Now,
I think that's what it is, by the way. I don't think like the sharps are saying, oh, Houston is great and they're going to win. It's kind of like, hey, Dolphins are shitty. They never deserve to be favored by 7.5. I don't care who the hell they're playing.
No, I mean, we're playing, we're just playing the numbers in the eye. Like, no one's looking at it. Certainly no one thinks Houston's a good team. It's just a matter of, can Miami be favored by that much over anybody? I mean, that's really the question. And, we're looking at Survivor. I do the show on Survivor pools. Miami's going to be a decent pick this week, or decently owned pick, because of the fact that it's Miami. You're not going to have many chances to take Miami. Probably the only chance you're going to want to take Miami this year. And so that's a lot of the questions I'm getting. Everyone's like, I might be taking Miami, but I don't feel very good about it. I still haven't made my decision yet in a DraftKings one on taking Miami.
Let me ask you, I've got a Survivor question for you. And guys, John does a great show called Scratching and Surviving. If you play Survivor and you're not watching the show over on the Sharp app every day or every week, you're fucking crazy. It's so good. The strategy is so sharp. It really is appropriate for the name of the app, Sharp, because it is sharp strategy to win your Survivor League. So let me ask you a question, just an overall in Survivor. Has it ever happened that, it's a 16-week game for an 18-week game, right? How often does it make it to week 18, no matter how big the pool is?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, though, it depends on the size of the pool. I've gotten 1 year, I would say it was probably a 1,500 person pool, and I chopped it like 30 ways going the whole season. So, and it depends how the season goes.
1,500 person pool.
That was like 1,500 or something like that, and we had like 30 way chops.
So Survivor ends. They should not allow the last week of the season. I'm assuming some pools don't and some pools do.
I think everyone just does it because they want to. Ultimately, you're trying to get down to one winner. Yeah. What a lot of pools are doing now is double picks. So I'm in some big pools where, like, one of my big pools started with 6,400 people. We got to do double picks this week. I was in another pool that started with about 1,500 people. We had double picks. Yeah, okay. Double pick week 3, 4, and 5. So that's how they help try to knock people out.
Yes.
Get it down to, one winner. If you're in a small pool, some of those pools will do like a buyback, or you can you get one free week. So basically you get 2 knockouts if it's a small pool because they want it to go longer. Really depends. There's so many rules. Now that I do that show, I get a ton of comments on there. I've got a whole bunch I got to answer actually before the game tonight. But people, it's interesting to see all the different rules that there are. But this season's been, for the most part, it's been chalky. And then last week, boom, Cincinnati loses. We hadn't had a team over a 7-point spread lose until last week.
It only takes one. And so what I was trying to figure out is, do I even need to play Miami, or can I just say, fuck Miami? 18 weeks, I'm not going to be forced to play that shitty of a team.
If you look at it close, week 12, the best game on the board right now in week 12 is Dallas-Vegas on Thanksgiving, which is not that great a game. Your second best game is Tampa at the Colts.
I like that.
Okay, yeah, but when you're looking at that from a point, but a lot of people have taken Tampa. And the other thing is Dallas this week, big favorite. Dallas next week, big favorite again. So you've got to hold off on Dallas. That's where all the strategy and game theory come in. So that's why people are trickling down to, well, I take Miami because I'm going to need Dallas in the next coming weeks. So it gets tricky.
Guys, make sure you go to the Sharp app YouTube and subscribe just for that show if you play Survivor. It literally has been a roadmap to lasting in that awesome format that a lot of people love to play. So let's get back to this game. Texans Dolphins here. I loves me some Miami in DFS. I do. And I'm going to tell you why, John. I like Tua. I can't pronounce his last name. Doesn't matter. I like Tua. The reason is the dude throws like 40, 45 times a game. And I love that shit. Miami really doesn't run the football. They don't have the type of running back that's going to dominate a game. He's not on the roster. They don't do that. That's not how their team is set up. So what ends up, even with Myles Gaskin, he does a lot of his work via the pass. So you can count if they're going to be scoring in this game. If they're going to be scoring, it's going to be on the back of Tua's arm. And by the way, wipe out a lot of this shit because half of the season, Miami was dealing with Jacoby Brissett, and they were kind of playing a different style. So these numbers aren't going to reflect exactly what's going to go on here. I'm looking for 40-plus passing attempts from Tua, which means that Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Parker, all cheap pieces. Some of the cheapest viable plays on the entire slate, especially the two wide receivers, come into play as really, really solid plays. I like everything about it. I don't even mind Myles Gaskin. I don't love Myles Gaskin. Let's not go crazy. But I like Myles Gaskin a little bit. And my biggest challenge right now, John, is trying to figure out if I need to bring it back with anyone from the Texans. And if so, who? Right? So let's talk about the Texans side a little bit because I have some ideas. But right off the bat, everybody thinks Brandon Cooks. But Brandon Cooks is going to see Xavier Howard in coverage. And Xavier Howard has been shutting motherfuckers down. He's been shutting motherfuckers down. You don't want to play. Last week, Stephon, no. Didn't have the big game. He's shutting people down. So with Xavier Howard shutting people down, I know Brandon Cooks is going to get peppered with targets. I don't know about that. So who do you go to? Can you play Nico Collins? I don't know. Can you play Nico Collins and Danny Amendola? It's pretty gross. Bunch of other turds hanging around. Here, it's pretty bad. You just play David Johnson. Didn't do anything last week. What happened to David Johnson? I don't know. It's a tough situation. I'm not really sure. Why'd they play so much Rex Burkhead last week? What the fuck was that? I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if you could bring it back with anybody.
Possibly not. I'll give you Gesicki's the guy I like the most in this game.
Gesicki's been the highest scoring tight end.
Yeah.
For weeks in a row. Yeah, he's great. But you know what? Devontae Parker, he's been great. Parker been getting those targets. Jalen Waddle, they love throwing. Look at these guys. 30%. I love it. These numbers are so good. So what this tells you is if Tua throws 40 passing attempts, and these guys are getting 40, 30, you're talking about 12 targets each. There's enough to feed Waddle and Parker 12 targets each. This is DFS gold, John. I don't know. Am I missing something?
No, it's an odd game to 7-point.
I know it's odd
with two bad teams.
It's what stood out to me.
Yeah, but I could certainly see it.
No one's playing the shit either. Trust me.
Probably not, and it's going to be. That's the hard part is the Houston side, really.
Hard to bring it back. I get it. I might not do the.
Is there any chance Taylor plays here?
Yeah, maybe. If Taylor plays, I'd like the game a little bit more. The Houston side is going to burn your lineup when you put Nico Collins or Amendola in there, or any of these guys. They're just going to burn your lineup. David Johnson, that's so GPP only. It's not even funny. But in the end of the day, do I need the Houston bring back? I think it helps. I think it will definitely help the game if Houston's scoring, but it could come from Burkhead. So I've got to think about that component of all of it. But I definitely love everything to do with Miami. Myles Gaskin is a little too spendful for me right now on both sides. 5,800, 6,100. That's a bit spendy for that kind of running back. But beyond him, I love those three pass catchers. Of course, yeah, Tua probably gets hurt on the second play of this game and the whole thing goes to shit. That's how it goes. But, I'm not going to make my calls based on fictitious possibilities of in-game injuries. So, yeah, I love that game for DFS purposes. That's why it made the core 4. Let's go to the last game on the docket. Bengals, Browns. 47.5 point total, 2.5 point spread. Bengals, home favorites. Cleveland Browns, reeling right now. A little bit. Reeling. You got OBJ, his dad going crazy, doing the LeVar, doing the big baller brand routine. Get me out of here. Odell Beckham be gone, cut in the next couple days. A lot of craziness going on in Cleveland, but I think the team rallies. And then, of course, the Bengals. Bengals have been one of these teams that have just been producing fantasy goodness week after week. They're not traditionally a team we think about for that, but Burrow has been great. Chase has been great. Mixon pops off every once in a while. So any thoughts about the spread here? I do have a bet in this one as well.
Yeah, I like Cleveland on this in this game, and that's where the sharp money is as well. They actually bet this down. This opened up. The look ahead was like 4.5. It's gone down to 2.5.
Yeah, that's my bet, by the way.
Yeah, I like Cleveland. The getting rid of OBJ, I think, is just nothing but a positive. He's just been a cancer to that team. They went on the run with him last year, without him, I should say. Last year, that's when they had their best run end of the season through the playoffs. He wasn't there. I told Scotty over in DFS, the big Cleveland Browns fan, he might be watching this now. I like to bust his chops on with the Brown stuff, but what I told him last year, they were getting excited this year because like, man, we're gonna have, the team was really stacked, and plus now we're getting OBJ back, and I'm like, I don't think you want him. I don't think you want him back. I said, possibly, yeah, on paper, looks like your offense is getting better, but he seems to suck the life out of every team he's been with. So I think that's going to be a net positive. I think the team rallies here when you get rid of a player that's been disruptive, and I like him. I like him in this game. Now, the tough part is you're taking Cincinnati coming off a brutal loss. So, usually you're like, team off a bad loss, look for the bounce back, but I'll still take my chances here with Cleveland.
Yeah, I think that my narrative of team rallying around sort of like they hate Odell is big. I think that's a thing. Teams are going to rally around their quarterback more often than not. And let's take a look at the power ranking sheet, the John Statsational Alessia power ranking sheet over at DFS Army. All VIP subscribers can check this out. And when you take a look at that, you'll see that Cleveland's run projection here is really nice at 137 yards. Obviously, they split the carries between two guys a little bit. But if you take a look at the matchup sheet, you will note that last week, it wasn't so much of a split as it was the Nick Chubb backfield. So the split was much lower than what we've seen with Chubb on average, where when Hunt was in the game, it'd be more of a 50-ish, 55 to 45 kind of split, sometimes even less dramatic than that. And in this case, we got about 70% of the rushes going to Chubb, with Dearness really coming out there a little bit more on even like passing downs, which is fine for Dearness Johnson as well. But what I like is we're getting Nick Chubb at a season low salary level, $6,700. Listen, Nick Chubb, we know what we're getting with him, and we're getting a guy who they don't throw to him. He's not going to be thrown to, but I really like Nick Chubb in this game. I never play him in a cash game. I never play him really in a high, normally I don't play him in high dollar formats, but at this price, $6,700, run heavy game plan, could see the 20 carries. I'm good with it. I like Nick Chubb here. There's not that many great looking running backs on the slate. It's not like there are other shiny toys that are shining and looking much better. So I like me some Nick Chubb here. Jarvis Landry, I think, is also in play. Again, it's the whole narrative of just get rid of Odell, get rid of that cancer. Landry's the leader on the team. As long as he's healthy, I have some interest in him at 5,100. Bengals don't have elite cornerback play at all. And on the Bengals side, again, I mean, Jamar Chase still doing his thing. Higgins, Boyd, the targets have been almost equal for all three. Obviously, Boyd and Higgins have been a little more possession-y, a little less explosive. But I think the explosive game for T. Higgins is coming. They throw to him in the end zone quite a bit, in the red zone. So that could pop. I don't love the Cincinnati side as much. I'm a little nervous about Joe Mixon. I'm not sure that this is the game for him. It was interesting to see last week how he kind of took over and got the full workload, however. And so we didn't see a lot of Samaje Perine last week. John, do you think that's a trend? What do you think happened last week that Samaje was all of a sudden worked out? You think just Mixon's health has improved? I don't get what they're doing with the running back in Cincinnati, unless Mixon's health was concerned and they were Mixon and Samaje, and now he's better.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. Yeah, I've got in my big money league, I've got Mixon, so it's always tricky when they're gonna, give a lot of passes. They do a lot of passing to Perine, and Perine comes in on a lot of the pass plays.
And pointing out the power rankings, Cleveland very good against running backs, and the power rankings do not bode well for the Bengals rush.
Well, and on the flip side of that, Cincinnati against the running back is absolutely they've been pretty bad. They're fourth worst against running backs.
The Jets just tore them.
Yeah.
An actual new asshole.
That's true. Yeah, if you watch that game, the Jets were able to run the ball, and they obviously passed the ball pretty well in that game also. So Carter had a big game last week. But that's why I like this game from a betting standpoint. And the other thing that you may be curious to know is the sharps are coming in on the under in this game as well. So the under, I think, plays more to the Cleveland style, where they're going to just be pounding the ball on them. Which would also make this not that great of a stackable game. Of course, if the game goes on, we're looking for games to score, mid 60s to make them really well for game stacks. But I think the obvious piece here is Chubb in this game. I think that's the side that I want to be. I'm not in love with the game. I don't like playing Baker all that much. It's just not the style that they play. He doesn't put up a ton of points. Landry, sure, as a piece, not going to stack him. And as far as and then the Cincinnati, I'm not in love with Baker. Mixon.
No, I don't really think I really want to load up on Burrow or any of that.
No,
I think it's really just a couple of one-offs, maybe a little Jarvis Landry in my one-offs on the Brown side, and a little bit of Chubb. Bengals side, maybe a little Chase, maybe a little of those pass catchers. Cleveland does have a pretty good cornerback. I don't know if good enough to stop Chase.
I would love to use the tight end for Cleveland if I knew who it was going to be, but
don't know who he's going to be. Can't use him. All right, moving on. That's the core four, guys. And as you could tell, it's a little bit of a weird core four because I'm not in love with any of these games. And there are definitely other games that I want to target, but I'm not sure they're going to be game stack situations. We're going to get back to what we've been doing, which is, hey, non-competitive games, a little less game stacking, a little more strategy involved in crafting our DFS lineups. And it's just what it is. But I do like a lot of these games, and there are pieces that stand out in quite a few of them. So we'll go first to the Cowboys at home, taking on the Broncos. Cowboys monster 9.5-point favorites at home. And John, I'm going to bring up the power rankings here because I really kind of want to get a sense of what to expect. And so it looks here like Denver not that good against the run or the pass, just defensively not that great. Dallas is projecting for 139 rushing yards, 289 passing yards. I think that's the most offense of any team on the slate. Yes, it is. Yes. So 428. Yeah. So Dallas projecting as the highest offense output in the slate. And first, I want to ask you about any betting angles, 9.5 points. Do you do anything with that?
Yeah, from a betting standpoint, I'm not touching the game. Let me just give a quick look if I'm seeing anything coming in as far as the spread on this one. I don't think we're going to see too much. Yeah, it's pretty much. I don't think there's any sharp money on either side of this game. I mean, the public's coming in a little bit more on the Dallas side. I think understandable, but it's not a really sharp game. I think it's probably priced right, spreads right on this one. So but from a DFS standpoint, I kind of like this game. This probably could have been in the core four, maybe more so than someone else. But the Dallas side of this game is as you pointed out, is pretty intriguing. This is my highest when you do it based on the what teams have given up this year, what they've scored in fantasy wise. This is my highest rating for a wide receiver core this week.
The Dallas wide receiver core?
The Dallas wide receiver. They're getting the number one. They're projected to score the most points as a group at wide receiver.
Dallas. So here's the thing with Dallas right now. And Hetty, to answer your question, tune in to the Showdown Breakdown today at 4 for the full Showdown Breakdown for tonight's slate. We will find out who the locks are. But here's the way I see this game. Dallas goes one of two ways, or this has been what they've done this season. They've if they're able to control the game with the run, they're going to do that. So we have a new Dallas sort of offensive philosophy that we're going to control the game with the run if we can. And if we can't, we will go to our ability to sort of light it up via the pass. In games where Dak has only thrown 26, 28 times, we're not hitting value with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. And actually, he's really favored Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. So I think Dalton Schultz here actually has been doing his damage regardless of the game script. And Dalton Schultz might be the safest play.
Well, one thing Denver's done really well is they're the best team in the league against they're the third best team in the league against tight ends.
I love that. So that helps us in the sense that Dalton Schultz been vulturing all of the work. The running game for Dallas looks really great here. Zeke, 139-yard projection. I like that. And basically, if Denver can keep the game competitive, that's when we're going to see the better approach. So this is a game stack. As much as it's a widespread for me, it's a game stack scenario where if I'm playing CeeDee Lamb, if I'm playing Amari Cooper, and I'm playing Dak, I feel that the Denver offense needs to be productive in order for that stack to really pay off the way I want. I need a competitive game environment here, which brings us around. And I'm going to ask you this question because I don't know the answer. I have a guess, but Dallas has shown that Trey Diggs is an elite cornerback to stay away from. You don't want to really target players who are going up against Trey Diggs. Last week it was Justin Jefferson. He was blanked. Trey Diggs is good. He's good at the cornerback position. He's now one of the 5 or 6 corners that I pay attention to and go, I don't know, play anybody against him, right? So I assume he's going to be on Courtland Sutton. Do you think that's going to be the case? And there's also another player on the Denver side that I love that no one's thinking about. But I assume he's going to be on Courtland Sutton where Jerry Jeudy runs free out of the slot. Do you think that's going to be the case? Do you think they put him on Sutton?
Most likely, but I'm not afraid of Diggs. Diggs is a big play machine both ways, right? So he's going to make big plays.
He can
get beat. So I don't think he's the lockdown guy. I'm not going to be afraid of him because we've seen him give up. I got to look at the number. I haven't looked at it in the last couple of weeks, but he actually is one of the worst in the amount of yards he gives up per what should be given up on a play, whatever that stat is. But basically he gives up more on average than should, but he makes up for it with the big plays. He has a lot of interceptions. So that tells me he's a guy who likes to gamble, and guys who like to gamble,
he can be beat.
They could be phenomenal, or they could get beat for the big play.
Sure.
That New England play was not his fault. Everyone's going to think back to that one. That was the safety coming over and just making an awful play. But he does cheat. He does gamble, and you can beat him. So I'm fine with playing against him.
I'm not. So I listen. When I say I'm not, like we should always caveat every cornerback can be beat, and wide receivers are really good. But I just think there's other options for Teddy Bridgewater to go to. And if Diggs is out on this guy, I might be like, yay, I got intercepted once already. I'm staying away from that motherfucker. He's going to catch me again, and just throw it a different way. Or the offensive coordinator is aware that Diggs is there, and he says, hey, we probably shouldn't call a lot of plays to where he is. Right. So that's just it's more psychological. I think it just mutes the stealing of an already volatile player in Courtland Sutton. And for me, that pushes targets over to Jerry Jeudy a little bit. I like Jerry Jeudy in this one. But the guy I like the most, you ready for this? Albert Owegonkinwam. Albert Owegonkinwam. Let's read the name together. Albert Akwunbunam.
I think you got it.
And why do I like him? Because Noah Fant is out with the COVID or something. And it gets us Albert Akwunbunam for min salary. I love a min salary tight end. Dude, I love it. I love a min salary tight end. This is my guy. So I got to mention him. One of my favorites. He's been good when he's gotten opportunities, by the way. So, in the past, he gets a few targets each week, and now he gets the whole backfield, the whole thing. Fant got the vid. He's on the vid list. No good. Where, he's getting 7, 11, 4, 7, 10. We could see Albert O with 6 or 7 targets for 2,600 in this game. I'm not saying he's going to go. That's not Egyptian. That's not Egyptian. That's Amin-Ra. You're thinking about Amin-Ra. So I like Albert O. I like Zeke Elliott in this matchup. I think Zeke Elliott might be the most popular. I think he might be the most popular running back on the slate. Like, he might be the guy that ends up being the chalk.
Yeah, that's possible.
I'm not sure. It's hard to know because they're all kind of like that.
Yeah,
but he might be the chalk.
Yeah, no, he's going to be up. It's going to be one of the top 2 or 3. That's for sure. Eckler's going to be popular as well. But I just like the wide receivers here. But you mentioned what the risk is. Dallas goes and blows them out. They're just going to pound the ball with Zeke. So it's going to depend. You probably don't want to have Zeke with the wide receivers.
No,
so
I think
it's going to be
it goes one or the other way. If the Cowboys have shown if we can run the football, if we can run the football, we're going to run it. We're going to run it. I love that Clay's asking this, like, as if I don't do an hour and a half Domination Station live stream tutorial every Saturday night. Like, come on, jump on with me on Saturday. We hang out, we drink, we smoke, we make lineups. It's great. We use the Dom Station every Saturday night, 11 o'clock. DFS Army VIP only, guys. VIP only. All right, so I love that game, I think, but it's a game stack situation for me. I don't really want to kind of like, you got a game stack, especially those wide receivers from Dallas. They're not going to do it if Denver isn't scoring as well. So you want a game stack. You want to ping pong that. A little CeeDee Lamb, Alberto, a little Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper way cheaper than CeeDee Lamb. Doesn't make sense to me. They're the same guy. I'm going to play Amari Cooper over CeeDee Lamb just because he's cheaper. I get that Lamb has popped off a couple times. Doesn't matter. It's Cooper over Lamb. So just because the price. All right, let's move on to the next game on the slate, John. Falcons, Saints. 2 bad teams that taste bad together. It's the opposite of peanut butter and chocolate. The opposite. It's the inverse of 2 great tastes that taste great together. These are 2 bad tastes that taste worse together. Falcons, Saints. Falcons, no Calvin Ridley, no wide receivers, no running back. I don't know what the hell they got going on. You can't run on the Saints. Saints. Who's playing quarterback for the Saints? I don't know. Do you know? Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Trevor Siemian? Who they throwing to? I don't know. It's a weird situation with both of these teams. So the Saints, unknown quarterback situation, -6, 42-point total, very low, gross, not a DFS exciting play at all. But any betting angles here? I do think I have a side I like.
Yeah, I'm not particularly I'm not fond of either side of this game from a betting standpoint. And the public is, you'd probably be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't be surprised. The money more so than the public. There is some sharp money coming in, and public money coming in on Atlanta in this game.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn it. Fucking A. By the way, speaking of public money and handles and stuff like that, we're getting handle data on the Sharp app here in I believe the next update. So on the Sharp app, you'll be able to click on a game center and see where the public money is versus the donkey money. We already put who the Sharps are on as part of the pro plan, but we'll have the betting handles on the Sharp app for everybody probably within the next 5 to 7 days. So look forward to that if you guys have the Sharp app or you don't have it, get it. Now, I'm surprised there. I like the Saints in this one, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't think Atlanta has any answers for the Saints defense. Saints defense, very elite. And let's take a look at what your number. I have not looked at this.
Can you be very elite, or would you?
I mean, they're elite against the run. You can't run against them.
Okay, it just sounded like overkill.
I mean, listen, there's elite, and then there's very elite.
And there's very elite.
Then it's VIP. You know how we do. Can't run on the Saints, so not good. Now Atlanta is still showing a number here, passing yardage, as if they have wide receivers on the team, but they don't have any wide receivers. No one. There's no one there. No one there. The only thing they have is Kylie Pitter, my boy, Kylie Pitter. The problem is they're going to put Marshawn Lattimore on Pitts, and now who are you going to throw to? Zacchaeus and Gage? Gage has shown he's not even a real viable WR2. Now he's the WR1. He's going up against the top corner. That's not good. Zacchaeus, not good. He's just not good. So I don't know who the hell Matt Ryan's going to throw to. He's slow. I think the Saints defense is going to overwhelm them. I like the Saints. I like the Saints to cover the spread, but I also like them to dominate the game. You can't touch anything. I mean, Cordero Patterson, beyond him, and he's just a phenomenon, whatever. But beyond that, you can't touch. I won't touch. I don't want Kylie Pitter either. Don't want it. Don't want it. Not in this game. Not with no distractions. It's too difficult. No distractions. A tight end needs a wide receiver to distract. You can't have the whole point of an elite tight end to me is he can excel when he's getting covered by a linebacker, a lesser athletic person. Now he's going to get the best guy on the Saints defense, Marshawn Lattimore, locked onto him the whole game. I don't like it one bit, John. I mean, why are the sharps on Atlanta? What am I missing?
I don't know. I mean, I don't like the game. I don't like the game either. And I think New Orleans is a little bit underrated just because that defense is so solid. I'm assuming it's going to be Hill at quarterback. I mean,
everybody I ask has a different assumption.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I would go.
I would go with Hill because the team has no wide receivers. Why would you put Trevor Siemian in there who doesn't have the extra legs weapon when your team lacks weapons?
I mean, we've seen. Listen, Winston's a much better quarterback than Siemian, and they haven't done much throwing the ball either. I think Sean Payton. I think he likes the idea of Hill. Obviously, he uses him quite a bit, so I don't think he minds it. They did it last year. He brought him in. What it does is it just destroys Kamara, right? So when Hill's playing, we saw Kamara's numbers go down. So kills you there.
Yeah, Kamara normally you'd want to play him in this spot.
Yeah, it's a great spot, but
I guess if we're talking about a DFS angle, you've just hit it, which is pay attention. The problem is Hill's going to be in the game a lot anyway, and it's going to kill Kamara either way. Because even if Siemian, so I might have said, hey, if Siemian's in there, I don't think Hill will kill Kamara as bad as people think, actually, because they need Kamara as their primary wide receiver. So even with Hill in the game, I think we might not see what we saw last year. Remember, Taysom Hill was in there. Michael Thomas was still playing a little bit. They still had some other wide receivers that were at least mildly viable, but I think Michael Thomas was playing at that time, right? So
yeah, he was useless when Hill was in.
Yeah, I mean, Kamara was basically useless when in that scenario, and he was terrible. But with no Michael Thomas, they might have to throw to Kamara. So they might use Kamara almost primarily as a pass catcher, and Kamara does excel in that scenario. So I'm not going to say it's a definite like, oh my God, stay away. Kamara didn't make my player pool as of now, but I might be able to be convinced that he makes some sense, especially if the field agrees with this thought that he's not good with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, the worst part about Taysom Hill is he steals the touchdowns. Even if Trevor Siemian was in this game, Taysom Hill's coming in around the goal. They're not trusting Siemian to throw for touchdowns. So what's going to end up happening is you'll get Taysom in there anyway around the goal line. So it becomes you can't play Trevor Siemian in DFS. Fuck that. It harms Kamara a little bit because Taysom is a guy who will steal the touchdowns. So the only thing you're really going to get from Kamara here is a lot of PPR goodness and upside. Okay, that's nice. But for his elevated salary, I need touchdowns and a bunch of them. So he might just be unplayable for the fact that, he's too expensive for the lowered touchdowns expectation that we might get. Outside of that, I don't see any reason to play anything from this game. If Taysom Hill plays, I'm interested in him as my quarterback play and a naked Hill.
Yeah,
Naked
you could definitely do that. And then with Kamara too, though, even with Simeon playing, they're going to be stacking the line against them because why? Let Simeon try to beat you.
He's not doing it on the line. If he's not doing it via the pass, he ain't doing it.
Right, but it's really hard to throw to the running back when they're stacking the box as well because now they're basically going to have that play covered. Like it works when you could spread spread out the defense and then dump the ball, these little 3 yards in the flat and let Kamara run with it. That's going to be really hard to do regardless. So I'm not high. And then obviously the touchdown situation, not high on Kamara here.
No, not at all. All right, let's move on. Next game, we have got the Raiders at the Giants. I like this game. This could have made the core 4. Raiders at the Giants. And there's a lot of narratives going on here, so we'll cover it all. But Raiders 2.5-point road favorites. 46.5 point total. I'm going to tell you this, John. The number seems a little bit low to me. A little bit low. Raiders, good team. Giants, bad team. 2.5 point spread seems a little bit off to me. What do you think?
This game, I mean, it was Giants were going to be favored in this game earlier in the season, and now the game has gone to a Vegas favorite. So yeah, I mean, I think the numbers is probably right, but the public, everyone right now is just hammering Vegas. Like nobody's betting the Giants at all. So this is one of those
donkey bet.
Not necessarily. I mean, but it's one of those that the sports books are going to be rooting hard for the Giants. Giants win this game, and the books are going to make a nice payday. So yeah, people are just hammering. They're hammering Vegas. So if you want to be on the sports book side, you'll take the Giants.
I always want to be on the sportsbook side,
and that's where the money's going to be. So it'll be on Vegas in this game big. It is already. So which is sort of understandable. Now you would think the Giants, like they were in that game, probably could have. I don't know, should have, but yeah, definitely could have won that game Monday night. But the thing is, I think people are looking at that more as the Giants didn't really play all that great to be in that game. It was just Kansas City played so god awful that kept the Giants in that game. The Giants didn't look good. It wasn't like, man, I can't believe how good the Giants are playing. No. Kansas City just kept giving it to them.
Too many turnovers. Win the game. Mahomes turnover machine. He's not good now.
Yeah, I got a ton of Giant friends, and I was just breaking the chat. I kind of needed Kansas City in survivor pools last week, so
Giants could have totally won that game too.
Oh, totally could have won that game. But I was, I said, listen, if the Giants don't win this game, then they'll never beat Kansas City if they can't beat them in this game, because I mean Kansas City, and that's just been the season. So I really wanted to watch the all 22 video last night on that game and the last few games, but I don't know if anyone has Game Pass. Do you have Game Pass? NFL Game Pass?
Dude, don't you know they do the fucking highlights on YouTube? You just write NFL highlights.
It doesn't matter. I like to look at the all 22 videos and stuff, and you can't get it. Like there's something going on with the all 22. So I don't know.
I have no idea. I just watch the highlights.
Yeah, I like the Game Pass because I used to like it because I could watch the coaches film and the all 22, but for whatever reason, it's not working. So unless I'm doing something wrong, but I can't get it to work because I really wanted to see from what it looked like to me. It's like, well, I don't want to get too deep into Kansas City, but it's like they were doing fine, like dinking and dunking against the Giants, and then every time they tried to get the ball deep, that's where they ran into issues. But yeah, I mean, in this game, Vegas is obviously the better team. I don't think the Giants are very good. Barkley now, is Barkley going to play?
Unclear. He's got the COVID. He already tested negative, but it's unclear if he's actually ready to play. We'll need a couple more. I like the Giants a little more. I mean, if Barkley plays and we knew he was getting a workload, I like Barkley. I'm all about it because the Giants have nothing going on at wide receiver. Sterling Shepard out for a few weeks. Kenny Golladay, a fucking waste of time. Darius Hayward, Slayton, garbage, right? So all they have is, and even Dante Pettis got hurt last week. It's 4. So all they've got is Kadarius Toney, 2 tight ends, and a running back, whoever the hell that is. That's all the Giants. So on the Giants, I like Kadarius Toney a lot because I think the target expectation, assuming he stays healthy, is 6 to 12. Like it's a very high number of targets, like a minimum of 6 here. And we could see as many as 12 targets for Kadarius Toney. We've seen him pop off like crazy in those scenarios. So that's my favorite play on the Giants side. If Saquon Barkley was starting and if we knew he'd have a workload, then I could get down with the Quan as well. And on the Vegas side, all right, I've got an angle for you here. It's really hard to figure out who the wide receivers are for Vegas right now. Here's my angle. I think that the field will assume that with Ruggs gone, we're going to get like all of these targets peppered to Hunter Renfrow. But the thing about Hunter Renfrow is, even when he gets a lot of targets, he's never shown like a GPP winning upside. The number of games that Hunter Renfrow has over, even 15 fantasy points is extremely low. And you need 20 plus at his 5K salary to be tournament viable. And just look through. He's kind of, even with 9 targets, 13, even when the targets spike to 8, 16, 11, 12, 8 targets, 12. So I think Hunter Renfrow is a dangerous chalk play. He is currently projecting as the highest owned wide receiver on the slate. And I'm not about it. I don't think the loss of Ruggs does anything for Renfrow at all. I think it does nothing for him. I think it's going to help Brian Edwards. I think it's going to probably help Zay Jones or some other crappy guy who will get a couple of targets. Yeah, Zay Jones will take those snaps that Ruggs was getting. He's basically a similar style of player, even if he's a much worse version of it. And yeah, there's not as many. So Michael is saying they got rid of Brown and Snead, and that's great. Fewer people. Brown wasn't involved all year. I don't think it's relevant. Snead was kind of like maybe a little competition for Renfrow, playing a similar position. But overall, it's really hard to pick players from the Raiders for me that I like outside of Darren Waller. Darren Waller, I think, is the player that benefits the most from a lot of this craziness. So Darren Waller, as much as I don't love paying up for tight ends most of the time, to me, is the best play on the Vegas side of this game. Can you mix in a little bit of Josh Jacobs? Sure. Can you try to figure out a way to make a Derek Carr lineup and just pair him up with some of these turtly wide receivers? Sure. But I think the easy one is Derek Carr to Darren Waller, and maybe hope that Brian Edwards catches a touchdown. I probably wouldn't do Carr with just one. I think Carr is a must stack with 2 guy. But which 2 is always going to be tricky. So GPP only, Carr must stack with 2. And I probably bring it back with Kadarius Toney on the Giants. He's my favorite play on the Giants side, unless we can get clarity at running back. I don't mind Devontae Booker if Barkley's out. John, any sort of am I missing something, or how do you feel about kind of what I just put out there?
I think I agree with you totally. I like your whole analysis with the passing side on Vegas, and I do think that it benefits Waller probably more than anyone. I'm probably just a little bit higher, I guess. Yeah, higher on Jacobs than you are. I think it's a good spot. The Giants have been really bad against running backs.
I just want to point out, take a look at the matchup sheet. Last week, 36% snaps. Season, 38%.
Yeah, that's the thing that's troubling. Yeah.
It should be troubling you because it's fucking troubling, dude.
Yeah.
It's just an even split with Drake, and he's not priced that way.
No.
I cannot play Jacobs at this price. I can't do it.
Yeah. I'm definitely, he's definitely going to be in there for me.
I'm the cable guy. That refused to go into my neighbor's lawn to pick up the cable from Optimum. I can't do it. Nope. I'm not going there.
Has he gotten has he had, a lot of attention? He's been in that mid-teen range in attempts, then he's getting a handful of targets, but he's had some really bad matchups. Right? Chargers.
Let's look at it.
Bears. Philly's been good against the I think if he's going to pop, this will be the week.
I just want to point out, if he was going to pop, it was going to be week 7 against the Eagles. Team wins the game. Good game script for Josh Jacobs. 6 carries? What the fuck is that? Right? So I don't know what's going on. These 14 and 15, like, where's the evidence that he has 6, 12, 18, 24 point. I mean, I guess he could get there. And even with no carries last week, I don't know what happened. Somehow he managed to get 15 fantasy, scored a touchdown. But, he's got to get me 24 at this price level. Can you play it a little bit? Sure. But man, don't be mad if you get like a 10 or an 8 out of Josh Jacobs, because I don't know if it was maybe coming off the bye week, he'll be healthier. And maybe that'll be the difference maker, John. I don't know. What's the catalyst for it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just it's odd how they're handling. I mean, the six rushes last week, but it was definitely didn't make a lot of sense there. But again, to me, it has to be something. It had to be something to do with health. And I think, I mean, that's the thing. It's a GPP play, obviously, but I think the potential there for a 25-point game, I think it's there this week. So I just, you can't pass him up for me. You have to put him in there in the mix if you're MMEing. So
there we go. All right. Sounds good to me. Giants side, like I said, running backs, I think, and Kadarius Toney, and that's it. Maybe, Evan Ingram and Kyle Dolph. Rudolph is really interesting in 2,600. You saw he has a massive red zone role. He's the guy they like to throw to in the red zone. And especially when the Giants have been down all these wide receivers, they're essentially running two tight ends on the field most of the time. But you saw even last week, while Evan Ingram was on the field most of the time, it was Dolph getting the targets in the red zone. I like Onwenu more. Albert O. I like him more, and I don't love this number. And Evan Ingram, I guess at 38 is you probably play him too. Fine. I'll allow it. I guess. All right. Patriots, Panthers. Patriots on the road, taking on a Panthers team that will probably be without Samwise the Brave, Darnold. And instead, PJ Dynamite Walker at the helm. Now, John, I did a little bit of research into Dynamite last night. Not the show. I'm talking about the player. And I thought that he was like a running, scrambling quarterback, right? That's sort of the book on Walker. Oh, he's fast. He's athletic. I beg to differ. This guy, I don't see any evidence in his past career. He runs about 4 times a game. He's averaged about 25, 30 yards. And he's not like one of these quarterbacks that is a big scrambler. Doesn't mean he can't do it. Just means he hadn't been doing it in the past. So we're now, he looked horrible. The whole team looked terrible last week. He looked horrible last week as well, but he's looked okay in spots in his career. He's had other starts before, and he's looked okay. So my question for you is, I mean, against the Patriots defense, I don't like it at all. I don't think you could play Walker. He's very cheap, but I don't know, betting angles. Does this pop off the page? You want to bet New England in this spot? I don't really know. This is not an exciting one for me, game-wise, environment-wise, anything. I really hate this game. But do you have anything that you like about it?
Yeah, I'm going to have a play on this game. The public is actually 3-1 on the Patriots in this game. So I think it kind of makes sense. Carolina got off to a pretty good start there. They thinking about maybe being a playoff team. I think that's out the window. This line, the look ahead was like, Carolina was favored in this game looking ahead, slight favorite, now 3.5 point underdog, 4 points in some places. So yeah, I do like this game. And I'll be giving it out. So I don't want to give out the side that I like here. But from a DFS standpoint, I'm not sure there's anything I like in this game. Yeah, as you said, Walker was a XFL guy. If anyone played the XFL, only, from DFS.
He wasn't
XFL,
great in the XFL, by the way. I'm sorry. He threw for some touchdowns, whatever. He was
a big star there. He was like, he was the high priced quarterback there, if I recall, when I was playing DFS XFL stuff. But
that means nothing.
No, I know. I'm just saying he was one of their top quarterbacks in the league, which is how he got to.
He had a four touchdown final game of his XFL career.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what got him here to Carolina, and but there's literally I believe this is the worst game I have on for DFS from a numbers standpoint. The Carolina defense has been good, and the New England defense has been good. So I mean, what are you really going to like here? Carolina, dominant against running backs. They've been and then above average against the quarterbacks, wide receiver, tight end, all aspects.
Look how gross these numbers are. 192 passing yards to 205, 98 rushing yards for Carolina. The only for New England. So it's really gross. Carolina, you're right, plays good defense. New England plays pretty good defense, especially against wide receivers. And the only area that looks even mildly okay is Carolina rushing yardage at a 120 expectation. Chuba Hubbard still in there. We don't even know if Chris McCaffrey will be back for this one. Just an overall gross, low-scoring game to avoid in DFS. I think you could probably play New England defense here just because, or Carolina defense. Like both defenses are in play.
Both defenses definitely in play.
Walker's an interception machine. You can play New England defense here. That might be a great play. So stay away from this one for DFS purposes. All right, next up we've got the Bills and the Jaguars, and of course another Bills lopsided game, and we get a lot of these 14.5-point favorites on the road taking on the Jaguars. And Bills defense is so fucking good. It's so fucking good. They're good. Jaguars gonna get an ass whipping here, right? Defensively, unless the Bills come in flat or kind of have that going on, I expect an ass whipping. Jaguars have been very vulnerable to teams that don't suck defensively. When they face them, it hasn't been pretty. So the real question, John, and I don't know betting angles, you bet minus 14.5-point favorites. I usually don't bet that. Do you bet those?
Yeah, I mean, there's no game not bettable, but this game I don't particularly care for. The look ahead was only 10.5 now, and then it opened to 14.5 after the weekend. So
because Jaguars have looked right. Poor as ever.
Yeah. No, they've looked terrible, and obviously Buffalo's looked pretty good. Like you said, defensively though is where Buffalo's been suffocating teams defensively, which makes it really hard from a DFS standpoint to like. You could certainly like the Buffalo side of this game, but do you really want to bring it back with anyone? So I think
no.
We usually don't have this. It seems like we got more of these games than we have in the past.
We do. We've talked about this every single week. There are more bad teams, really bad teams in the NFL this year than there have been in the past. And between the Jaguars, the Jets, the Texans, and I think there's a couple other ones that fall in that, the Lions. There are some so awful teams that they're creating these weird, and for some reason those horrible teams never seem to play each other. It's always like Rams against these horrible teams or the Bills. But taking a look at Josh Allen, this is what I looked up yesterday. I want to see all right, what has he done in the non-competitive games? And what can we look for out of Josh Allen? So you had this Miami game, completely non-competitive week 2, and you got a disappointing score out of Josh Allen there. So you're like, oh man, that's a little concerning, right? Then, every game has been non-competitive for the most part, but a little more competitive against Washington, and Josh Allen pops off. Then you have a third game against Houston. And again, we got what I would call a disappointing 21 fantasy points out of Allen. And of course, the KC game, that was an obvious one to load up. Tennessee game, another obvious one to load up. And then you had what was expected to be non-competitive against Miami week 8, but Miami kind of put up a little bit of resistance. I think Miami scored first in that game. So they put a little
3-3 for the longest.
Yeah, it turned out to be an ugly game with the Bills pulling away late. So it turned out it was competitive. So in the really non-competitive games, though, we saw 35-0, only 17, and we saw 21 points out of Josh Allen against Houston. So there's definite risk here, I think, that if you play Josh Allen in DFS, I'm not even showing the shit on screen. I'm an idiot. Sorry about that. I'm like showing it, but I didn't realize it wasn't on screen. So if you let me go back to it here. So just to show what I was talking about here, the Miami game, non-competitive, the Houston game, non-competitive, the 17 and the 21 point games. But beyond that, Josh Allen has been 30 or 29 or more every single week. So what do you do in this situation? And what I'd say is you've got about a 30% chance, maybe 33% ish, that Josh Allen will kind of pass that 29-point total in a non-competitive game, just styling out there, just doing his thing, just being sexy with the football. But beyond that, there's an even larger chance that Buffalo defense dominates here. Josh Allen doesn't need to do anything. They actually run one or two with Moss or Singletary, and it goes like this weird way where Allen doesn't score more than 25 points. And you're going to need 8, 16, 24, 32 out of Josh Allen to really have been worth paying for him. The reason being, at 8,200, there's just a high likelihood that somebody cheaper than that is going to score 30 plus. I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody will do it. So Josh Allen, DFS play, a little bit of risk there based on just a completely non-competitive environment. Definitely not a game stacker for me either. So John, I'll throw it to you. What do you do in these situations? I mean, we talk about this every week. When it's non-competitive, there's literally nothing that's going to force Buffalo to have to throw. They just like to throw the football because that's Buffalo, and they throw the fucking football a ton. So probably still a reasonable chance that 3/4 of play out of Josh Allen, they'll score 5 touchdowns. And if he can get 4 of them, he's probably good enough for the nuts. But if he's only getting 3 of them, that might not do it because the yardage probably won't be there. Won't need it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a risk that everything happens in the first half, and then you just get nothing in the second half. They've been in, like you said, I mean, they've been in the situation before. It's not like I don't think you could fade it. I think you have to take a shot here in GPPs, and if you're going to play it, I think you just disregard the Jacksonville side of the game.
Yeah, no stack here,
and then you just play Allen and maybe one piece. I mean, I guess you could go 2. You could go 2. I would just go 1. Like I would play Allen 1. You could even play Allen alone. I wouldn't do that.
No,
but you could. I would go Allen with one other piece in this game, and then I would disregard the Jacksonville side of it. There's enough games. There's enough bad games out there where that easily could be the play. Like if there were 3 or 4 games that I'm like, man, you have to absolutely just attack these games. Maybe I wouldn't do it, but this easily could be Josh Allen's week here. So I don't think you could pass on it.
Another plus for Josh Allen for his pass catchers is with Dalton Knox, with Knox out still, I think this week. He should be out again. We can expect a little more of those tutties to come from the wide receiver core. So pairing up Allen with one of Diggs or Sanders or Beasley seems to be play. We'll see if we can get like another injury. Beasley's been, he popped up with the Q tag, I think, midweek. And if we can narrow down that target sort of tree a little bit more, that'd be even better. But really, it's been a crapshoot as far as Sanders, Beasley, and Diggs popping off week to week, and it hasn't been as dramatic as the salary difference has been between those guys. So you never really know, which makes again it difficult of a game to mess with in your high dollar sort of 150, what I call 3-max or single entry style lineups, and it's more of a mix it into your MME. Another question I want to sort of get to, because people ask me this all the time, that how do you know whether you're going to team stack or game? Like, what do you make a decision? And it's just what we broke down. I don't think Josh Allen's big game is predicated upon the Jaguars making this competitive. I think his big game is predicated upon, do they choose to throw the football and for how long and how they choose to score. So I'm not tying in Josh Allen having a great game to the Jaguars making it competitive. Whereas when we talked about Dallas, I said, what we said was, listen, Dallas will run the football if they can. If they're ahead, they're going to lean run, and their wide receivers and Dak are going to suffer. So in a Dallas game, I do want a game stack because that's a team that's not going to push the envelope and throw the football heavily if they are able to not do that. That's what they've shown.
Let me throw this at if this game is, let's say, if this is a 7-point game at halftime, what's the most likely score? And not, you don't have to give me the exact score, but I mean, if this is within 7 points, it's a 10-3 game more than it's going to be a 20-13 at the half, right? You just don't see, like, if this game's going to be competitive, it's just because for whatever reason Buffalo's not scoring, as opposed to, I don't think Buffalo's given up. They're not going to give up 28 points here. And this game's, 38, 33, 34, 28 or something like that in this game. So if it happens to be that this game covers, it's more likely it covers at 20-10. And Buffalo just had a bad day. That's why I don't like bringing the comeback here from Jacksonville. Like, I just don't see the least likely scenario is Jacksonville puts up a ton of points and keeps them in the game. It's just more of, for whatever reason, maybe Buffalo just doesn't score as much, and in which case, probably not going to want to use Allen anyway. So I think your best bet is if you're taking Allen, you're taking him just with his players, and you're not bringing the comeback.
Think it through, guys. And remember, like and subscribe to this channel. Like the video, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can get this. Hetty was asking about lineups for tonight. Showdown breakdown coming up at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, maybe earlier. Don't know. Timing switches for me constantly. Don't know. But look for the Showdown breakdown tonight. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you're not going to find out. And by the way, our Showdown breakdown is the best in the DFS industry by far. We've been fucking gave you Rudolph last week. Bobby Wow, the way he nails Bobby Wow and DFS Up North, the way those two guys nail the turd of the day has been uncanny. It really has been. It's been spectacular. It's to help me take down a bunch of showdowns this season already. And DFS Army subscribers have been crushing showdowns because of those guys and their incredible calls. So we're going to get a lot of that. All right. Next up, we've got the Packers taking on the Chiefs. Love this game. You can be like, you love that game? What the fuck? Really? Packers taking on the Chiefs. Aaron Rodgers got the vid. Not good. Not good. He got the vid. But we don't give a shit about that. 7.5 point favored Chiefs. Mahomes leading the league in interceptions. Leading the league in interceptions. What do you say, John?
Yeah, from a betting standpoint, I'm gonna like a side on this game. We are seeing Green Bay money now. I don't know how much of that was coming in prior to Rodgers being out. So I think what we're going to see is certainly a lot less. I don't think people are going to be all that high on Green Bay with Love. I think they liked Green Bay, the Green Bay side with Rodgers, with how awful Kansas City has looked. And right now, I mean, Kansas City, I forget where I've got them on my rankings, but it's like middle of the pack, like 13th. They were 13th going into the game last week, I remember. So they're probably even lower now.
Can you imagine? Are you serious? Fucking dropping down the rankings, 14th?
14th, down, yeah. They were 13th going into that Monday night game. And I can't tell you how many people when I had them like 7th or 8th, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And again, this is not like me making my valuation on where they should be. This is strictly the numbers. This is like where they belong right now. And I've had people messaging me. They're like, "Oh, you're wrong. You know, Kansas City, you've got them too low." And I'm like, dude, this is just based on where the numbers are. And, you know, and sure enough, they've just been getting worse. So it's pretty crazy. You know, we've just seen what they can do. So we anticipate that they're going to be able to get back to that form.
Can you bet the Chiefs? They haven't covered the spread in.
They have not covered in ages.
Multiple seasons.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they have, but they basically have not covered for like a full season now. They've been terrible against the spread, and obviously, when a team like that, when you've got a Mahomes and you've done what they've been capable of doing, and then things start to turn, it's hard for the books to adjust quick enough because even the public they're going to keep pounding on the Chiefs, expecting a comeback. But I think that Monday night game really soured a lot of people. They're like, boy, if they could not get healthy,
almost lost to the Giants.
That game was disgusting. It was a disgusting game. If you, like I said, I needed that game in survivor pools, and I'm watching that game thinking, you know, and I wasn't all that excited because I know how bad they've been playing. But I mean, you had to take them 10-point favorites in these survivor pools, and I'm like, this is just a disaster waiting to happen. Luckily, the Giants are just that much worse and just couldn't pull it out. But
let me tell you something: if Sterling doesn't get hurt, if Kadarius doesn't bust his hand up, if the Giants go full force, they might have won that game. I think Sterling Shepard was the missing piece to that win.
Well, I was saying earlier, I wanted to watch the All 22 because I feel like it's getting at the point where I think it's a coaching issue partially here. It it looked to me like the misdirection, short plays were working. And that's because what I'm seeing all these teams do now is just play back. They're playing that, too deep cover and let them try to drive the ball down the field. And then at some point we'll get the turnover. Like they'll make a mistake and they're not willing to run the ball. They were pounding the ball down the Giants' throat, like pounding it.
The turnaround for the Chiefs will happen when they get Kelsey going again, because exactly what you said is what's going on. Teams are covering them deep, and Kelsey has not been getting those 10-yard over the middle passing plays the last few weeks that he has. But I think it's all an overreaction. Let's bring it back to earth. It's still Mahomes. It's still a great offense. It's still the Chiefs, and we gotta eliminate that recency bias. We saw them play bad against the Giants. Who cares? Now we're gonna get the Packers. And here's my angle on this game, John. First of all, I don't mind a bet on the Chiefs here at -7.5. I think the Packers are going to be horrific without Aaron Rodgers at the helm. He is so much the entirety of that team.
He was worth 10 points. So the last time he was out, what was it, 2 years ago when he was out, like for the good chunk of the season? They had it initially. Who was the backup? I'm forgetting. It wound up being a couple of different guys that year.
It was a different guy. It wasn't Jordan Love. I remember the name. He was terrible. The DeShoyne Kaiser, I think it was.
Right. So what wound up happening was they gave it 7 points. It was worth about 7 points on the spread. By the time it was said and done, it was worth like 11 points because the backup now they're giving you like 7 points. They're saying Love's about 7 points worse. We'll see.
No, I think it's different. I think the Packers might have been favored by 1 or 2 had they come in with Aaron Rodgers.
It was no, Kansas City was a 1-point favorite.
Okay, so
they're giving it like 6.5, 7 points.
In that case, I think 6 is too little.
I agree.
Of Love.
Yeah.
So let me tell you something that I really like about this game. The Packers normally play a ball control style of offense that keeps the football outside of the opponent's hands. Aaron Rodgers is a master of 2 things when you watch him. Number 1, he milks the clock down to 1 second almost every single play. That's what they do. They do a lot of talking. They do a lot of huddling. They do a lot of chatty Cathys in the huddle. And then they milk the clock down. Then and they have the ability, because Aaron Rodgers is so efficient, to sustain long drives. And what ends up happening is Packers defense looks better than they are. That's why I'm not even showing the power rankings. Fuck the power ranking, or fuck that. That's irrelevant here, because Packers defense excels based on the fact that Rodgers is a master of the 14-play, 7-minute drive. They just milk the clock. 3 drives later, the half is over. That's what they do. So what's the difference here? We've got Jordan Love. Jordan Love's not going to be able to sustain 14, 17 play. He sucks, right? So he's going to have a hard time sustaining 17-play drives. That's not Jordan Love's game. I don't know what his game is, but that's not it. So what I think will happen here is we will see elevated opportunities for Mahomes, potentially in positive field position situations on a Chiefs team that is very unlikely at any point, because of the way they've been getting their ass kicked week after week, to take the foot off the gas. And what is going to the Packers are down Jair Alexander. He's not playing. And so we're going to see a scenario where Mahomes gets the football more often than you would expect against the Packers, more opportunities for offense. And I think he's going to style in this game. I love Pat Mahomes here. I love Tyreek. I love Kelsey. Go right back to that shit. Go right back to Kelsey, Tyreek, and Mahomes. I don't like the running backs. Don't know what's up. Frank Gore. I don't know. Frank Gore's son is part of this deal. I don't know. But all I know is I love Mahomes. I love his big name pass catchers in this game. And I think that he gets right. They get back on track. I love that the field and the general assumption is that Mahomes isn't good anymore. Give me all of that. All right, let's move on to the next game on the docket, John. It is the Cardinals. We don't know if Kyler Murray is going to be in there or not. Taking on the 49ers. 5.5 point total, 1 point spread. Give the betting angles, my man.
Yeah, so I mean, slightly more money coming in on the Arizona side of this game. I think Murray's going to play. They haven't taken the game off the board, so if this game was, I think if there was some serious concern he wasn't playing, this game would be off the board right now. the fact that it's been on the board all week.
So you think that Murray's going to play?
Yeah, I think he's going to play. But although that line looks low to me,
is that the Murray playing injured line, or is that the Colt McCoy line? This is what I can't figure out.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time figuring it out. But I just think Murray. I think the plan is Murray's going to play. I think that's what the expectation is. But listen, how many times have I said it on this show? Once these guys get nicked up, that's it. Unplayable in DFS.
Love that. So let's dive into that for a second. Murray, busted ankle, cannot play him in DFS. Guys.
Can't play him.
No play. Don't care. No play. Running quarterback, busted ankle, not good.
I have Taysom Hill in a league that I'm starting over him this week. So
starting Taysom Hill over him. There we go. And I agree. I'm not sitting him in my fantasy football season long league. I don't sit my studs. I don't have backups. I got Superflex leagues. I'm fucked.
I had no choice in this league. They're forced to put you back up. But yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm fucked because
exactly
Superflex leagues, and I got some Kyler, and there's no replacing that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not starting him in DFS because he's not running. And when Kyler Murray hasn't been able to run in the past, his passing game prowess is not good enough to produce. AJ Green got the vid. He was hanging out with Ron. They were at a party together, Halloween, over at Von Miller's place. Von Miller, big Halloween party. Everybody got the COVID. That's what happened. You don't know this. I found out from Gargano last night on the Wise Guys that everybody who's got the COVID was at the big Von Miller Halloween party. Did you know this?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gargano said it.
There you go.
Yeah, it must be true. So they got the vid. So really, you would think there'd be elevated target expectations for you'd think there'd be elevated target expectations for DeAndre Hopkins, and there probably is. And maybe Christian Kirk. No AJ Green has been sucking up 7 or 8 targets a game. I'm kind of interested in that, but I don't know. And I think Kyler Murray not running will increase the target expectation for some of those pass catchers for the Cardinals. So I'm down with them. I'm down with Christian Kirk. I'm down with Rondale Moore. And I'm down with, I don't love Hopkins, the elevated price tag, got a Q tag going on. Hopkins might be out. Again, Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk. Going to make my list this week, right? Love those guys. On the flip side, for the 49ers, Deebo Samuel's fucking GOAT. 36% target share all season. Keep it going. Fine by me. I like Deebo when Garoppolo plays. As much as Garoppolo's a limited quarterback, he does like to deliver the football specifically to Deebo Samuel. I love the San Francisco's offense in this game, dude. I like him. Well, I like him for DFS. Everybody but Jimmy. ABG.
The reason Arizona's been so good this year is their defense. They've been really good.
The defense works a lot better when the offense can sustain drives.
Agreed.
And when they can't, that defense starts to look like shit. But yes, they do play good defense, which is, listen, we're not loading up on Jimmy G, like I said, but Deebo Samuel, doesn't matter who he's playing against. When you get 36% of the targets and you're Deebo Samuel, that's my back punk. You're like, he's a big dude. He is a bully out there. He'll take your fucking bicycle. You're not going to give it back. Deebo Samuel comes up to you and he's like, yo, let me see that chain. Let me hold it. Right? You got a gold chain. He's like, let me hold your chain, John. What do you say? If Deebo Samuel's in your high school, you were in high school, freaking Edward R. Murrow High School in Brooklyn, right? You're over at Murrow. You think you...
I did not go to... I actually went very close to Murrow, though.
James Madison High School in Brooklyn.
Midwood.
Did you go to Madison?
I went to Midwood.
You went to Midwood? Okay. All right. Midwood High School. Deebo comes up to you, right? Deebo Samuel, this player. And he's like, that's a nice chain. Let me hold it. What are you going to do?
You got to pull an ice cube on him, man. You
let him hold it, bro.
No, you do the ice cube.
Which
knock
is
him the fuck out.
No.
Deebo got knocked the fuck out.
You ain't pulling no ice cube on fucking Deebo. You're letting him hold the
ice
chain.
Cube did it.
You know what I would do? All right, you would do that. You know what I'd be like, okay, could I have it back later? He's like, yeah, come find me later. Never see your chain again. Never see the chain again. It's gone. Later on, you're like, yo, Debo, you got that chain? Can we get my chain back? He's like, what chain? Fuck. I was afraid you were going to say that. Damn it.
You're the Chris Tucker.
Yeah. I'm like, he's like, what chain? You're like, damn. That's what's up. He's a bully. He's a football field bully. Fucking grabs the football. He'll knock you over. He's the Derrick Henry of wide receivers. Love Debo, right? Eli Mitchell doing his thing. You know what's up. A guy come up to you, say, let me hold that chain. What are you going to say? No? Sorry, bro. Damn it. Don't stab me. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, back in the days of the junction.
Yeah, listen,
the junction and Flatbush.
Take the chain off.
That's what. Yeah. You would just give the chain up pretty.
You're bad for wearing the chain.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Should have known better.
Hope you enjoy it.
Wear a chain because it was getting taken by Debo. So anyway, yeah. Ice Cube got to pick a brick up to deal with Debo. No, I just give the chain, bro. So anyway, I like this game. I like San Francisco to cover the spread here. I got a Butler bet though, and when the Butler bet is out there and Gargano's on the Cardinal side, you could pretty much put your house, your mortgage, and everything you own on the Cardinals to win this game. It's Butler bet on it. The Butler bet is 100%. It's never lost. Beyond that, I like the pass catchers on the Cardinal side if Kyler Murray plays, because I don't mind that he's going to be in the pocket throwing more to Christian Kirk and Rondell Moore with DeAndre Hopkins somewhat hobbled and AJ Green out of the game. And of course, Zach Ertz. Zach Yak Ertz. He's got the yak now. What do you say, John? Any thoughts on this game from a DFS angle that I missed?
No, I mean, I would have liked this game, but yeah, I don't like. I mean, Debo's always a play, like you said. He's always a singular play. I don't love Jimmy G here, although he's been pretty good. But I don't like. I'm not thrilled playing against this defense, even though I agree with you if they're not sustaining drives. But I think this defense is better than people realize. So I'm not. Yeah, I just don't love this game at all here, and it's really based on the. It's really based on Murray being banged up.
You can't play Murray. No, never play the running quarterback with a foot injury or a leg injury or an ankle. That's a big no.
I told you, even with a shoulder injury, when it's a non-throwing shoulder injury, you want to be careful because they're not going to run. They don't want to get hit.
Major no to play any. This has been sage advice that we've been talking about for 2 years on the game plan, even when it's called the Vegas Line Show. It's the same thing we've been talking about. And so I totally agree. All right, John, that's going to do it for the game plan NFL Week 9. Guys, remember, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're not currently subscribed at DFS Army as a DFS Army VIP, it's a great time. We got all the sports going. Promo code YouTube. You see it in the scroller below. Look down. Promo code YouTube gets you 10% off VIP, $69.99 a month, 10% off. You might not want 10% off because $69.99, you know what I'm saying? You want to pay $69, but you can get 10% off if you want. Don't use it. Pay the $69.
Yeah, it's a lot less work.
Yeah. You don't need a fucking promo code, but it's there.
Yeah, don't pay the $69. Use the code.
You got to play the $69. Actually, we're going to change the price to $69.69. None of that $99 shit. $69.69. Right? So sign up at DFSArmy.com as VIP, of course. And if you want John's free bet of the day every day, smashing, if you want incredible player props, game set, all the sports betting tools and advice you need, great content, the Wise Guy Show, compare odds across different books, get the prop finder tool, guys, DFS Army guys. Remember we had the prop finder? That's getting loaded on to the Sharp app in the next update, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, maybe today, I don't know, but it's getting loaded onto the Sharp app. You're going to be able to type in the name Aaron Rodgers, get every prop for Aaron Rodgers, of course, every book in one shot. You're not going to have to search. And so when you're trying to make your DFS decisions, hey, do I want to play Kamara this week or do I want to play Eckler? I can look up the reception prop. I can look up the yardage prop. I can look up the touchdown prop and make an informed decision based on where the money is going. There's no better tool for DFS, for fantasy football, for anything than the Prop Finder tool. I promise you, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. We will have it this week. Download the Sharp app, and you can get John's free bet of the day. What's better than that? And if you're wanting all of John's bets, if you want all of not just John, but our team of incredible handicappers, I'm talking about some of the sharpest bettors in the industry, tracked, crushing it month after month after month. Go to sharpbets.app. Sharpbets.app. That's where John is in the Discord answering questions, giving all of his plays. You've got a team of incredible cappers all tracked. You can see their records, follow who you want. Everybody else charges $200, $300, $400 a month for this kind of service. We're at $49.99 a month. It's so worth it if you're going to bet on sports. Not saying everybody does, but if you do bet on sports, if you like to bet, if you like making money, not everybody likes making money. Some people like losing money. I get that. But if you like making money when you bet on sports, you go to sharpbets.app and you sign up as a VIP over there. John Statsational Alessia himself leads the team. Anthony, Capper, Steve, Ryan, Keg is over there giving out bets. You've got an incredible team of cappers over there. Follow who you want. Anthony P.
Yeah, I mean,
sharpbets.app.
But if you took out golf bets, I mean, we were plus 20 units without the golf and like plus 40 units without golf. Golf's tough.
If you're going to bet on golf, unit size is optional. Be careful. We play plus 9,000 bets all the time. But overall, crushing it as a team, up 40 units last month. They're up incredible. So there we go. Go sign up at sharpbets.app. Check out John. And don't forget our sponsor, our other sponsor, Owner's Box Weekly Fantasy Sports. Code NBA10 gets you a free entry at $10. No deposit. Free entry. Just use the code in the description of the video. That'll do it for the game plan. NFL Week 9. We will see you next week. Same time, same channel. Like and subscribe. Deuces.